Good morning and welcome in. This is 5 Clubs on Golf Channel.
Thank you for having me on.
All the way to the greetings. Woo! Boy, was that fun.
I've always wanted to be on 5 Clubs. Thanks, Gary.
Good morning. Welcome into 5 Clubs 2026 here on Golf Channel. And of course, you can listen on PGA Tour Radio, Sirius XM. That is channel 92. I am Gary Williams. As you can see, we are not at home in the friendly confines of our studios in Charlotte, North Carolina. We're at Ocean Forest at Sea Island, site of the Jones Cup, one of the great amateur events in golf. We are flattered and thrilled to be here to start our year. We're going to be joined throughout the morning, a 2-hour show here on Golf Channel for you with a lot of the players who are in this field, 78 players. Qualifications to get in here, you have to be among the very best, if not the best players in the amateur level to get in here. So we are excited about this morning, but most importantly, we're excited about 2026 to start with because the people who allow us to do what we do are back, starting with Century Insurance, our presenting sponsor. When it comes to business insurance, if you watch this show, you know that that's what they do. And now is a great time for you to evaluate what your needs are. They want to be right by you. Plus, they invest in golf in great ways through the USGA, through the First Tee. We are thrilled to begin this year and know that we've got the support of Century Insurance as our presenting sponsor here on 5 Clubs. So I mentioned where we are. And Ocean Forest is a golf course originally designed by Reese Jones that has had a renovation/restoration done to a degree by Bo Welling. This is among the most challenging golf courses that anybody can play. It doesn't matter what the level. And I will also tell you, as far as the conditions here, it's actually quite mild. I packed to basically cover the Packers-Giants NFC Championship game when Tom Coughlin's face looked like an apricot. It's not that way. It's actually quite mild. The conditions this week are supposed to be outstanding. And if you look at the players in this field this year, you have a lot of guys who not only represented the United States, but also Great Britain and Ireland on the Walker Cup teams at Cypress Point last September. Well, this is also a Walker Cup year. They're going to do it in back-to-back years, so a number of those guys are back. We will have a member of GB&I, Luke Poulter, is going to be on the program this morning, and also Jacob Modleski, who won this golf tournament 2 years ago. He actually showed up here without having a spot in the field, and they said, well, we don't really have an alternate list, and somebody wasn't able to start the tournament. He got in and he wound up winning it from the University of Notre Dame. So they're going to be joining me. Miles Russell, somebody who a lot of people expect to be on those types of teams soon enough. He was on a junior Ryder Cup team already. He is the 2-time JGR Rolex Player of the Year. He is headed to Florida State to play college golf. He will be with us as well over the next 2 hours. And so this is a great way for us to not only start the year by being around one of the great amateur events, because this is the bridge from the fall college season to the spring college season, but it also is a time where, if you look around, there may be some smaller boutique amateur competitions going on, but this is the bridge for the best players who you think have a chance to go on and maybe be a part of a team-winning NCAA title or an individual title. And when the Jones family, who is deeply invested in amateur golf, made the choice to create this event, it started in 2001. The list of champions, sometimes you look at them and you go, okay, he didn't necessarily go on to have the most illustrious professional career. That doesn't matter. They have to be absolutely one of the best amateur players when they win here. DJ Trahan was the first champion. He obviously a winner on the PGA Tour. Justin Thomas has won this event. Patrick Reed has won this event. More recently, Ludwig Oberg won this event. So this is, whether it's foreshadowing or not, most of the players in this field, with the exception of the mid-amateur division, of which there is representation. And I don't know if he's going to be hanging around here this morning, but John Peterson, who was also an individual NCAA title holder. If he's hanging around here, I might bring him on here because he doesn't play professional golf anymore, but he, as a past champion, is here to represent the Mid-Am division. So you saw some of the images of this great event, and because this event has done so exceptionally well, they've been able to do exactly what they intended to do, which was foster more investment into the amateur game. They now have a Jones Junior Invitational and a Jones Senior Invitational that is contested right here. So we are excited not only to start the year here, but this is also foreshadowing for us as well in 2026 on 5 Clubs, because our intention, if you're familiar with the program, is that we want to represent all of the game of golf. Yes, we will talk, as you know, a lot about professional golf, and we would have been dissecting and unpacking the Century Tournament of Champions. But again, the PGA Tour is going to start this week. But we're going to talk, and we are going to travel to a lot of different events that we think are representative of all facets of the game of golf. And with that being said, joining me now is Brentley Romine, senior writer, golfchannel.com. He is also somebody who is as embedded as anybody when it comes to not only the players who are in this field at the Jones Cup, but all of amateur golf. And Brentley is at the Sally, and they are celebrating 100 years of one of the most significant competitions that they have on the women's side of amateur golf. So Brentley, I don't know what the line of demarcation is on Happy New Year, so I'll go ahead, I'll play the card, I won't do it again. How you doing?
Hey, Gary, it's Happy New Year. I've been told that it's like the 5th or the 6th of the month, but again, the first time you see someone in January, I think it's appropriate.
Okay, so, you know, I could have had you here and you could have broken down this field expertly, and you were actually texting me notes yesterday on a couple players in the field. But let me ask you about the event you're at, because it deserves recognition, especially events that sustain themselves. Give everybody a little historical capsule of what the Sally is, its historical significance to women's amateur golf, and where it sits today.
Well, to put this event into perspective, and it's nicknamed the Sally, but the actual name is the South Atlantic Women's Amateur Championship. And to put it in a little bit of perspective, the Masters didn't start until 8 years later. And so it's the longest running amateur golf tournament at a singular site in the history of golf. And it edges out the New Year's Invitational, which is an event over on the west coast of Florida, a men's amateur event, by just 1 year. So it's pretty incredible, right? We've seen tournaments fall by the wayside, especially in amateur golf. It's just really hard. It takes a lot of effort, a lot of time, a lot of buy-in from the membership. And it's clear being here at Oceanside Golf and Country Club that this membership has a passion for amateur golf, and specifically women's amateur golf. And that dates back to the 1910s, when the Hotel Ormond was constructed by Henry Flagler. There was a railroad along the east coast of Florida, and he would build hotels and all these stops. And naturally, golf tournaments popped up, and particularly women's amateur events, and they called it the Orange Blossom Circuit. And John D. Rockefeller was a longtime resident of Ormond Beach. He was a supporter of the Sally in its early years. And just throughout the years, you've really seen some of the giants of the game play in this. Babe Zaharias won it. Patty Berg won it twice. And even more recently, Lexi Thompson, Christy Kerr, Jessica Korda. So when it comes to women's amateur golf, I don't like to use this term lightly, but it really is kind of the Masters of women's amateur golf.
You know, Brentley, it also, I'm sitting here at the Jones Cup, which obviously is a neophyte in comparison, but it is at the time of the year, it's a new year as these college players transition from the fall to their spring season, where, all eyes are on the prize. Give everybody an idea of what this can mean. If you mentioned some of the people who have won it, particularly this year, are there some players that you look at that you are going to be talking about and capturing more color on them as we get into the spring season?
Yeah, there's limited opportunities this time of year to compete. And, I mentioned that Orange Blossom Circuit. Over the last 20, 30, 40 years, you've had events like the Harder Hall, the Women's International Floorball, the Doherty Cup. So those four, along with the Sally, have kind of made the more modern era Orange Blossom. But the Harder Hall went away. It now is played by a different name in Sebring. That course was sold and was developed for residential housing. The Doherty Cup moved their dates. The International Floorball, that's more of a mid-amateur event. So this is really the last chance for these players going back to college to get some reps, unless they want to go out to Arizona. They have a couple of tournaments out there. But you look at someone like Kari Hollenbaugh, who is top 15 player in the world. She's a senior at Ohio State. She's won this each of the last 2 years. And she's certainly a player that we could see on the LPGA here in just a couple years' time. You look at LPGA leaderboards, it's really on any given week, you could look at the top, and about half of those players have competed in this tournament. Even going back to the early 90s, someone like Vicky Getz or Brooke Henderson or Mariah Jutanagarn beat her sister here about 10 or 12 years ago. Nelly Korda, was a longtime competitor, played her first Sally, I believe, when she was just 11 years old. So Kari has a chance to do something pretty special this week as well and win her third straight. It's only been done twice before in this event. Trish Pruis and also Virginia Van Wee, who we're going back a long ways, Gary, but someone who won multiple U.S. women's amateurs, multiple USGA championships, another one of those titans of the game. And you walk around this clubhouse, you can see some of these old photos, black and whites, and I had a chance to dive into some of the newspaper archives as well, and it's really cool, seeing some of these historical photos that you kind of uncover when you do projects like this.
Well, we appreciate you taking the time. We look forward to leaning on you throughout this year when it comes to amateur golf, college golf. Enjoy that event. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Gary. We'll see you soon.
Okay, Brentley Romine, senior writer, golfchannel.com. We begin our year, we begin our day here from the Jones Cup at Ocean Forest. Thrilled to be here and thrilled to be joined next when we come back by Luke Poulter, who represented Great Britain and Ireland on the Walker Cup team. He has done fairly well when he has come to Sea Island. In the match play format of the SEC tournament, you don't want to see Poulter on the other side. He's going to sit down with me, his thoughts on this week, his thoughts on the spring season for his Florida Gators, and the road ahead. We begin this 2-hour program here on Golf Channel and PGA Tour Radio. That's Channel 92 on Sirius XM. It's great to have you with us. It's a happy new year from all of us here on 5 Clubs. Back right after this. Welcome back to 5 Clubs, Golf Channel, also PGA Tour Radio. That's Channel 92 on Sirius XM, our first show of the year. Thrilled to be at the Jones Cup, which will begin the competition tomorrow, a 3-day event, 78-player field. This is as good a field as you will see all year in amateur golf, as a lot of these college players who have not played competitive golf and probably in the most extended period of time they've had. Really, you go back to this time last year. And this segment is brought to you by Golf Pride. Again, we have great partners, and they are the standard when it comes to grips. Whatever you need through your bag, Golf Pride has you covered. Joining me now, he had quite a 2025, including representing Great Britain and Ireland on the Walker Cup team, a member of the Florida Gator golf team, and that is Luke Poulter. Good morning.
Morning.
Good to see you.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you for doing this. You were here 2 years ago in this event, and there were 2 things you said to me while we were sitting here talking. You're like, hard, and it was cold. Now, the golf course is one of the more challenging golf courses, but they had made some changes. So agronomically, turf conditions were very firm. It will not be like that for you this week. But it's much milder weather. But let me start with you on the time between your fall season and now. How do you try to keep sharp, keep your edge?
Yeah, like it's hard because you got a nice big old break, and that was one of the things I focused on, was taking a huge break because I didn't really have time off between summer golf and college golf. So I took a nice couple weeks off, and then coming back into it, just tried to pick up where I left off and do some practice stuff, keep on my wedges, putting, and yeah, just try and pick up where I left off, really.
Did you and maybe your dad go and play somewhere for the first time together?
We took a nice little trip. We just took a trip to Seminole, which was nice.
Okay, well that's always a good trip.
And then we did take a trip to Augusta National.
What was that like? Look, those things, you'll remember that day for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
To walk over, whether it's the Hogan Bridge or the Nelson Bridge, with your dad, who I know has been an inspiration and supports you to the point that I think he was going to pass out at the Walker Cup. He was so nervous. What is a day like that? How fortifying is a day like that to experience?
Yeah, that was super special because my brother was also there as well, which was just unbelievable. I mean, seeing him just walk down the fairways and have the biggest smile on his face was so special. I've just been lucky. It's my second time playing, and yeah, it was just super special to play with those two. And yeah, I mean the weather was great, and yeah, it was just unbelievable.
When you make a jump like you did last year, where it's not only your performances then get you to the point where you're in the conversation, and then you're on a Walker Cup team, and then you comport yourself so well in that competition. What does that do to confidence? Is that something that mentally you can identify that I have more belief in myself than I did 6 months ago, 12 months ago?
100%. That was one of the biggest things that kept me going for coming into it, because obviously I had my injury that was out for 7 months, which was super hard, but coming back into it, and then I won the first qualifier, and I was like, right, I have all the confidence in the world. I know that I'm back, and it just kind of kept me going for that whole season, and yeah, it led me to now. But yeah, confidence is so huge, and it can push you when you really need it. So it was big.
Confrontation in life is really discomforting for most people. And I'm not suggesting that match playing golf is like real confrontation, but it's the closest thing that you get. You identify your opponent, and there can be friction, not in an overt way, but you have embraced it in a way that your dad did. Why do you think that is? Because you're a very, pleasant, affable young guy. You don't seem edgy. You have come here for the SEC championship and just bulldoze people in match play. Why do you like it so much?
I don't know. It's super fun. I just love the head-to-head play. I mean, me and my dad have our secret little things that we always talk about. But yeah, it's just, that head-to-head play kind of gets you going. You, like you said, you walk up to the first tee, you shake hands, and it's like, right, I'm here to beat you, and that's the only thing I can do. And it kind of takes away, and you don't have to worry about anything else. It's just you take it one hole at a time and just try and destroy the guy, really.
So when you look at the spring season, we will talk about your approach this week, but Florida, it's funny to me when we talk about SEC football and it's like, oh, that's so deep. Take a look at the golf rosters, like SEC golf. We were going through the teams yesterday when we were out on the golf course ourselves. It's like, they're good, they're really good. How do you look at the SEC?
Yeah, it's amazing. Especially now this year, last year adding Texas and Oklahoma.
Yes.
I think that's why it was pretty cool for us to win it last year. I mean, having the trophy now, adding Oklahoma and Texas was really cool. But yeah, I mean, it's just got deeper, and it's great. I mean, it's always good to add bigger competition. I mean, it just adds to the win when you get it. So it's great.
Plus, it also it is the same format that you have, obviously, when you get to the NCAAs. I think it's a great way to prep yourself. I've always felt when Florida's been very good in the SEC tournament right here over at Seaside, that you guys are going to be a tough out, because I think it fortifies you. Let's talk about this week. What are your thoughts on this golf course?
It's amazing. Yeah, like you said, I played it 2 years ago, and that was my first time, and it was rough. I played pretty rough just because the course was so hard and windy. But I mean, this year it's going to be a lot different. I think the wind's calmed down. The weather's really nice, and I've heard the course is a little softer this year. So it'll definitely, the scores will be lower, so you can probably attack it more, which is good. But yeah, I just ordered a fresh 60 for the week because I was expecting it to be rock solid, but I've heard that it's a little softer, so I might not need that now. But yeah, I mean, the course is amazing, the views are great, and I'm excited to tee it up.
The one thing about this golf course I find at my level is that there is not a sustained stretch like 3 holes that you feel like is the part of the golf course you can take advantage of. I just think that it is there is a difficulty to this golf course that it's hard to get on a flyer. Is that fair?
Yeah, I'd say so, because like you said, there might be 1 or 2 easy holes, and then bang, there's a hard hole. It's pretty tough. So
before I let you go, the only reason I do this, this is your journey, and I know your dad understands it, but your dad is somebody who has had a fantastic career. And they're great images of you sharing his journey with him. Obviously, 2018, that image of him with his hands on your cheeks after the Ryder Cup. That's one of the great images in the history of the Ryder Cup, not just for your family. What does he provide you?
Just all the support. I mean, he's always happy for me no matter what happens, which I think is huge. And I think it's nice having someone there who's done it, so he knows the pain when I play bad and knows the joys when I play good. So it's having someone there at all times, which is great, and knows what it takes to get to that high level. So he's always going to be there for me.
Did you notice him at any point at Cypress Point at the Walker Cup that you thought, okay, calm down, old man. I mean, it's going to be okay?
Sometimes, a few times, but it's all right, because he would always tell me. I used to get a little angry when he would play. If he would make a 3-putt, he would see me like storm off the green, so he would tell me like, Luke, like, calm down, like, it's all right. So it's I noticed him a few times, so it's funny to see that now, was what he was noticing about me and now me noticing with him. Well,
great memory for your family. Last thing, the most important question. You were really testing a relationship this week. Your girlfriend is caddying you for the first time. People think like the boyfriend or the girlfriend driving to the airport is like a line of demarcation. Have you guys really talked about this?
Yeah, I'm just happy the weather's good. I'm just happy the weather's good, because I did prep her a couple weeks ago telling her that the weather could be horrendous, but it's looking good, and I'm hoping she still likes me.
As you look
after
off
this
into the
week.
distance in her direction.
Yeah. My mom did tell her that if I get grumpy that she can give me a slap, so we'll see how that goes.
Have a great week. Thank you for taking the time.
Of course, thank you.
And have a great 26.
Appreciate it.
Okay, Luke Poulter from the University of Florida, who represented Great Britain and Ireland. He'd like to do it again in Ireland at Lahinch in 2026, because they will go back to back. We continue. More guests to come from the Jones Cup live on Golf Channel and PGA Tour Radio, Channel 92 on Sirius XM. 5 Clubs back right after this. Welcome back into 5 Clubs from the Jones Cup here at Ocean Forest on Sea Island. This segment is brought to you by Peter Millar. Appropriately, they were pretty much born here, and if you go around this island, if you need anything to put on, you will find a Peter Millar item everywhere, including the pro shop here at Ocean Forest. Speaking of which, the head golf professional director of golf, John Wade, joins me now, along with one of the best instructors in the world of golf, who is at Sea Island at the Performance Center, who we had on during Teachers Week, Justin Parsons. Gentlemen, good to see you both.
Happy New Year, Gary. Great to be back with
Well,
you.
good. Happy New Year. It's great to be here. Look, John, you and I went around here when I was down for the RSM, saw Justin then, and we were talking about where we were going to do this. And we walked out here, and you're like, do you like this? I'm like, John, that's a rhetorical question. Like it? Love it. Let me start with this event and its importance to Ocean Forest and how much it means to bring the best amateurs in the world to start the year here.
You know, I don't know that I can really articulate how important it is to us and the membership. The support that we have is just, it's out of this world. It's in our DNA. And what started as a Walker Cup preview 21 Jones Cups ago has now turned into an annual cannot miss event for the top amateurs in the world.
Yeah, for you, look, there's so many things when you talk about players at this stage of their careers, and there's no reason to think that all of them should aspire to play at the next level. What are the things that you think most of the elite college players today are in possession of, and what do some of them lack that they will have to acquire to make a living doing this?
Well, so many of them are such high-speed athletes these days. You know, you see most of these guys out here, and they're 178 to 185 ball speed. So they've got that athleticism now. sometimes the college system puts them in a situation where they really have to play through, the college season, then they play through the summer season. So trying to find those little chinks in their armor, trying to maybe it's a little pitching thing they need to tidy up on, maybe it's a little full swing thing they need to tidy up on. Having the time to be able to do that is hard for the college players, and they're full-time golfers at this stage, and having that sort of pathway to be able to, I was with a couple of the guys from Florida State, and Trey Jones is a good friend of mine, and he sends them up and lets them get some little things chipped away. And one of the guys, he's shooting 64, 67, 61, 63 his last 4 times out, and I said, Trey, he can't be that bad, but having that little bit of time to do it is a big part of them getting to the next stage.
What do you want to provide these young men? I mentioned, look, you've added the Jones Cup Junior and the Senior. That is a reflection of the impact of this Invitational, the proper. What do you want these young men to experience this week? What's the most important thing beyond presenting a great, challenging golf course, which that's for sure?
Yeah, honestly, we want these players to feel like they're members for the week. We want them to want for naught. We want them to experience not only Ocean Forest Golf Club and the culture that's here, but Sea Island and what the culture is here in the Golden Isles. We want them to be challenged. We want to recognize our champion. I mean, if you look at our list of champions, they've combined for 38 PGA Tour victories, multiple Ryder Cups, President's Cups.
This doesn't have 75 years of history. This started in this century, and that's
correct. 2001.
Yeah,
started in 2001. So we want to recognize the individual that can handle some adversity, and we also are still very partial to the USGA and the Walker Cup. Captain Nathan Smith will be here, and he will be watching these players, and with them having a tournament in 2026 at Lahinch, I believe. Mm-hmm. It's not far along. He's got to select who he needs to select.
Yeah, it's a quick turnaround. The Solheim Cup did a back-to-back to get on the years that they wanted to get on. How about this time of the year for players? You work with some of the best players in the world. It is the respite. It is the longest period really most of these players have without having the opportunity to play true bona fide tournament competitive golf. How do you create competition in the process of practice in a time like this for players, whether it's these guys or a lot of the guys that you work with?
Well, I think the attritional nature of the PGA Tour season means that this year more than any year really I've been in the United States, we've had a prolonged period off really. So getting the guys into the gym, getting them really strong, a lot of the guys will have different things that'll happen physically as they go through that attritional year. Some will lose weight, some will gain weight, helping them understand where they are within that sort of performance space. Certainly encouraging, like John has said, encouraging them to play so many of these fine golf courses in the area, encouraging them to get out and have little 4-ball matches, and I'll cruise out there in a cart and try and add a little bit of pressure here and there. And then from an efficiency standpoint, look, make sure they're moving well, make sure they're within the plan that we have them on, make sure they're performing well. We'll use TrackMan tests and some little on-course tests as well to see where they're at. But nothing compares to what it's like when they're under the gun. And fortunately, we've had a lot of success. A lot of guys have won from this area in the last few years. So we know that they're pretty good when the gun goes off.
No doubt. For someone like you, it is a place where you can enjoy most everything in life. But there is a fabric to this place that is very sturdy, and it's golf. And you look around and you go, that's Keith Mitchell, and he plays. And I can go on and on and on and on. What is it like to have them around and their investment in the culture of this club? They're not just hood ornaments. They are people that you want to contribute to what the day-to-day experience is like here at Ocean Forest.
What I find interesting is the fact when they come through that gate at Ocean Forest, they actually, okay, I'm home. I'm an extension of my home, and I am just another quite successful member. And that's how they're treated. They follow the same rules that all the other members do. Certainly, the other members love having them here, but They're just a mutual member, and they appreciate the service. I will tell you that when they're preparing for an event and they're working with JP or they're doing a number of different things, they will then come out here, go all the way back, have themselves a rather sturdy game against one another. And I've been told multiple times if I can get it under par, I'm ready to hit the road.
Yeah, I was talking to Jack Fields, who I take some lessons from, played at North Carolina, won the North-South. He came down here, he didn't play a practice round, he shot 70 the first day, and it was ripping. And he looked up and he was leading by 3, and he's like, okay, that's when I got nervous. I want to ask you about something that, look, all of these players, like I said, want to do this as long as they can do it, meaning playing professionally. You work with some great elite young players, Blaze Brown, who is already a professional golfer, and Aldrich Pikeiter, who does amazing things with his ball speed. When they make a transition, it's a significant one, whether it's junior golf to now professional golf, doubt, and what it can do to the belief system. What do you do when you see players experience what you think is a moment of pause, like, am I good enough?
Well, you've got to keep them in the mindset that, like our job together when we're working together is to make them the best versions of themselves. So you've got to create an understanding that, this is how Aldrich Pikeiter plays golf, and this is how Blades plays golf, and these are the nuances, the little things that this player needs to work on, and these are the different things that this player. So when they begin to get an individual identity within the sport, I think that's when they can get a lot of strength behind them. I think when they start to compare themselves too much to other players, when they start to look at outcome too early, looking at leaderboards, looking at FedEx Cup lists, all of those things. So trying to not shield them from that, but trying to help them recognize that their importance is to really make sure that they're out there trying to put their best foot forward, the best version of themselves, and hopefully from there that you've prepared them properly, and again when the gun goes off, they're ready to go.
You've got to indulge me because you're one of the best instructors in the world, and I sent this question to you yesterday. I'm just curious, for you as somebody who looks at what Scheffler does, what do you think is his most valuable trait?
I think his most valuable trait is probably his competitiveness that has been talked about, but also his determination. When you look at his team, and I'm fortunate to know some of the guys that help him with his fitness and things like that, he's got a very singular determination. He's not doing anything in his professional world that detracts from his golf. Everything he's doing in the gym is to help him be a better golfer. He's not worried about having big biceps. He's not worried about the way his six-pack looks. He's just worried about his efficiency, and I think his singular determination comes a close second to his competitiveness.
Let me get with you last thing on this week. People are accustomed to coming here and it being really challenging with the weather, cooler temperatures, wind really blowing. It's very benign, and it's actually quite pleasant out here right now, and the forecast looks like it'll remain that. What do you think that does to the scoring this week?
I'm still not 100% sure that I believe the weather. Kind of look at it the morning of, but if it stays like this, it actually is going to provide us an opportunity to utilize some pin placements that we've been unable to use due to the weather forecast. Par's still going to be a good score. That said, these players are so good. I could, if it stays like this, I could see 10 under winning. They're just that good.
Sure. 3-day competition. It's always good to see you.
Thank you.
Have a great 2026. Thank you for having us here.
Thank you for being here.
It's a real pleasure and a treat to be here. John Wade, Justin Parsons with us. We continue. Again, 2 hours here on Golf Channel to start our year. We're back in studio to start in full next Monday. But today it's all about the Jones Cup. More players in the field will be joining us, as well as the man whose name is on the trophy and the man who runs the Sea Island Resort. Good to have you with us this Wednesday edition here of 5 Clubs on Golf Channel and PGA Tour Radio, Channel 92 on Sirius XM. We're back right after this. We are back on 5 Clubs from the Jones Cup here at Ocean Forest at Sea Island. It's certainly great to be here, and we certainly thank Century Insurance. They are our presenting sponsor for 5 Clubs. Their commitment to this program, they invest in golf with the USGA, with the First Tee, but most importantly, their core business is business insurance. Evaluate yours with them at Century. All right, joining me now, he's got his name on this trophy to my left. He's also a winner on the PGA Tour. He's a resident here at Sea Island. Your dad runs the RSM, so this is a family affair for Davis Thompson. Good morning. How you doing?
Yeah, doing good. How are you?
Doing great. So your name, as I turn the corner, there it is right there. What do you remember most about that week? I mean, it's always a great field. I mean, the best players that you're butting heads against in college golf, they're all here. Yeah,
I mean, I just remember the weather being brutal. I remember the last round, it was just cold and windy, and I just got hot on Sunday and was able to play well and win. And, yeah, just a special week for sure.
It doesn't look really cold and windy there. I mean, it looks quite pleasant. But you are going to have a cold and windy day here. That's, I think, people who play in this event more than once, you're conditioned to know that's what it's like. What does an event that bridges that fall golf season for college golfers into what is having your eye on the prize and having a chance to get into a position win an NCAA tournament, what is the value of playing an event with this kind of field to start the year as an amateur golfer?
Yeah, it's huge. I think a lot of college coaches obviously encourage their players to come down and play, just because, like you said, it just kind of bridges that gap between the fall and spring season. And you're playing against the best amateurs in the world, and you're playing a great golf course, and you can just kind of come down, cut it loose, and play, and kind of see what you need to work on to get ready for the spring season.
What do you remember about when you transitioned? Look, you were at the top of the food chain in college golf in terms of the wins you had, the teams you were on, so people knew that you were going to make a living playing professional golf. Was there any period that felt challenging, or was it just the natural progression? You had prepared yourself that I am going to play professional golf. I'm good enough to do this. What was the transition a pretty smooth, easy one for you?
I would say yes and no. I feel like PGA Tour University really helped out with that transition. Kind of earning that and getting me to final stage really helped solidify that, if I play well in final stage, I'll get my Korn Ferry Tour starts. But, yeah, they're definitely trying times, just kind of learning as you go. But, I would say mentally it was probably the biggest hurdle, not being so emotional about each and every event just because you're playing so much as opposed to college golf. So that was probably the biggest hurdle for me. But, once I started having success in college, it was kind of like, okay, this is kind of the path moving forward. And thankfully, I've been able to be on tour for 3 years and starting my 4th year. It's kind of crazy.
It is. The PGA Tour U, when it was created, naturally a lot of veterans on the PGA Tour were like, what are we doing here? We're going to give a pathway for kids who are coming right from college golf. I was an advocate of it from the beginning, the way that they've enhanced it even more so. How aware were you of what you needed to do, the places where you could accrue points? Did you think that there was an easy understanding from the best players in college golf of how important it was to get a pathway to professional golf?
I think so. I think if you look at the track record of PGA Tour University players, a good majority of them have not only been on the PGA Tour, but have won on the PGA Tour. So I think these kids are they're just more ready now. I feel like more cameras are on them, so they're not, kind of freaked out by playing golf on a worldly stage and having that camera in your face. So I think there's kind of a fearlessness to it now. But it's a great. It's just a great program, and I'm very thankful that I was the first year to kind of take advantage of that.
Yeah, it's not just, look, the number one guy in Ludwig who won this tournament like you did, that number one, that golden ticket fully exempt. but just having a platform, whether it's Korn Ferry Tour, whether it's PGA Tour Americas, just some place where you can play some competitive golf. Let me give you, whether you want to reflect on last year or not, I know that in the last event of the year, in the first day, I think you shot 62 at the RSM.
I did.
It was a good start. Your play, what were you disappointed, whether it was a data point, whether it was a stretch of the year? What was the thing about last year that you want to rid yourself of in 2026?
I think just growing mentally, just being able to flush away every round, every shot, and just kind of move forward. Not be so emotional about every single tournament. But yeah, I felt like last year I was kind of playing solid and was playing well at the Masters, I felt like, and then didn't play well on Sunday, then just kind of lost my footing and couldn't really get back on track. So I'd say just being more mentally tough this year and yeah, just playing fearless. If
anybody wanted to get an idea of kind of the state of the PGA Tour in terms of the Signature Series and its importance and wanting to be in those events, you played in all of them last year, and this year you have to go out and get some work done to get yourself into some of those Signature Series events. Do you get the sense that the Signature Series is a long-form format subset of what the PGA Tour schedule is going to be? I'm not trying to Harris English you here, but do you think that it is what it is now, but we can expect it to be altered at some point?
I honestly, I don't know. I think it's a good product. Having all your best players play at the signature events, but we'll just kind of see. It's kind of an ever-changing year-to-year type. It feels like, when they first came out with the signature events, they kind of tweaked it every single year. So honestly, I just try to stay in my own lane, let those guys handle it, and I think they're here to stay, but I feel like year to year they'll kind of tweak it as we go.
So I remember sharing a cottage with you at Congaree when Harris English had a chance to win that event. So Harris, you knew that he was going to go rogue at some point, right? He was built that way to just start popping off and saying things that nobody else would say.
Yeah.
When you look around at young talent, you had done everything at the college level, so I know that you had a great belief system. Do you think a lot has changed even in the time from when you turned pro to the players who are in college golf now? Or is it still pretty similar in terms of that 5-year window?
Yeah, I would say it's similar. The biggest thing that I've kind of noticed is just more guys getting starts on the PGA Tour and having immediate success. Guys like Thor Bjornsson, Luke Clanton, Ludwig, obviously a few years ago.
Jackson Coyven.
Jackson Coyven, still an amateur. So, yeah, it's crazy. The kids are really good, and it's very motivating for me to get better. So that's kind of what I've noticed. Like for me, like I needed some time to kind of play the Korn Ferry Tour, kind of earn my keep, and just kind of grow as a player before I got to the PGA Tour, and that was great for me. But it's just kind of been shocking that the kids coming out having immediate success, because when I was in school, like it was like Matthew Wolf, Victor, and Colin were those three guys.
Yes.
But now it's kind of one guy a year, so it's pretty cool to see.
A kid who still has to take some high school classes before he can eventually get to Georgia. Have you played some golf with Mason Howell, who's in the field this week?
I've not played with him, but obviously he's a pretty good player.
I just, at 17, I know you were a good player. You were a very good player. You were getting ready to go off and play where he's going to play at the University of Georgia. But to be on a Walker Cup team at that age, which you experienced it, that's heady stuff, isn't it?
Yeah, I made that team as a senior, and I can't imagine making it as a senior in high school. Yeah. So he's obviously mature beyond his years when it comes to the game of golf, and it's really cool to see. I'm glad he's coming to the University of Georgia, so we can kind of share that fraternity with him. And yeah, it'll be cool. It'll be cool to watch him kind of grow as a player, and hopefully bring a lot of SEC and national championships to Georgia. All
right, last thing, with all the guys who make a living on the PGA Tour who live here, you being one of them, who do you enjoy playing a little money game with? Who are the ones that it's good for you, that it gets your edge in the right place? Who are guys that you love playing golf with?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, a lot of the PGA Tour guys I play with, but there are also like some Korn Ferry guys that I play with as well. But I love playing with Harris and Patton and JT and Brian Harmon and Keith Mitchell. They're all great guys. They've kind of taken me under the wing, so to say. But it's fun, like coming out to Ocean Forest and playing with them, or Seaside or playing with them. So it's healthy competition. But once we get to tournaments, we're trying to beat each other. But when we're home, we're just kind of all trying to get better because we're all kind of living the same life. It's
a wonderful place, obviously, to live, but it's a great incubator to keep your competitive edge because you have so many guys who are supporting you. But like you say, when you get on a tournament site, you got your eye on your own prize. It's great to see you. Have a great 2026. Thank you for coming over and taking a few minutes. And name on the trophy right there. I know you're proud of that.
Yeah, for sure. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Davis Thompson, winner on the PGA Tour, winner of the Jones Cup. We say goodbye right now to the SiriusXM audience. Folks, we'll be back Monday from studio to start the full year there. But Golf Channel, don't go anywhere. Another live hour here from the Jones Cup, one of the best amateur events in the world as we continue. And we will be joined by the guy who won this event 2 years ago. And when he got to Sea Island, he wasn't even in the field. And they didn't have an alternate list. He's like, I'll just do what I can and I'll practice. And he wound up getting in. And he is from the University of Notre Dame. And he was on the United States Walker Cup team this past fall at Cypress Point. So Golf Channel, keep it right here. Another live hour from the Jones Cup. 78 of the best amateur players in the world. I'm Gary Williams here on 5 Clubs. We're back with you right after this. Welcome back to the Jones Cup at Ocean Forest on Sea Island. It is hour 2 of our first show of the year here on 5 Clubs. We are back in studio on Monday, and this program this hour all year presented by Century Insurance. We are so happy to have them partnering with us. They also partner with some of the most important people and entities in the game of golf, from the United States Golf Association to the First Tee. And for them to be our presenting sponsor means the world to us. It means the world to us to be here at one of the best amateur events, not just this time of the year, all year long. 78 players. If you look at the players who have won this event when it was born in 2001 to the players more recently and what they've gone on to do in professional golf with all the wins, major championships as well. It is a great testing ground for so many of the best college players as they get ready for the spring season to make a run at an individual NCAA title and also a team title as well. He's won a team title, he won the ACC. He also was on the United States Walker Cup team from the University of Notre Dame. He joins me now, Jacob Modleski, and you've got your name on this trophy 2024. How you doing?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me.
You are doing great. You're at Sea Island.
Yeah, and I'm wearing shorts, so it's even better.
Which would be virtual insanity if it wasn't the way that it is today, because in 2024 when you won, there are a couple things about it. I think people will appreciate this. You were not in the field. And you came down here, and they don't really have an official alternate list, but you're like, I'll come down, I'll practice, and who knows? And you got in.
Yeah, it was definitely a last minute getting in, but I had decided beforehand that I'd come down, and at the worst case, it'd be a break from some mats up north, and it just all kind of worked out. It was an awesome experience.
So, who was it that you held off there at the end?
I think Jackson Koiven and Caleb Surratt were kind of
two guys who one guy's got a tour card in his pocket, the other one's already playing professional golf on LIV. Those were two guys, but there's so many good players. Obviously, when you win an event like this, and whether you're in the field or you get in at the 11th hour like you did, what does that do as you springboard into a spring season? What did that do to your mindset, your belief system?
Yeah, it always gives you, kind of an extra sense of belief in your game. I feel like it's something that I do pretty well, kind of having a lot of confidence and feeling like, my game's able to compete with, with anybody, but it's another thing to go out and kind of show that. So, the college season's very busy. You're always playing, and it's really, really, really hard to win. So whenever you can, kind of prove yourself in a field like that, it definitely helps moving forward into a very busy spring.
Growing up in the state of Indiana, did you have a desire to go to the University of Notre Dame when you were 10, 12, 14 years old?
No, it was never like a childhood thing. None of my family went there. I'm the first of my family to go there. But I definitely grew up seeing a lot of people with very strong family ties. The parents went there, the kids went there. But as soon as I visited Notre Dame, it was pretty clear that's where I wanted to go. I went for a night game against North Carolina, and it was such a cool experience. I loved the campus. I loved Coach Handry and Coach Zedrick, the people on the team. I got to play with them, and it was pretty much an all-around first choice as soon as I stepped
It's really
foot.
not a fair fight when people go to, and you can say, well, they have cold weather. I was lucky enough to be a part of a larger group that ran a junior golf tournament at the Warren Golf Course, which is your home golf course, and was there for a whole week. And I had been to Notre Dame one time, but it was a flyby back when I was in high school. And I get why people who go to Notre Dame are the way they are, because it is exceedingly special in so many ways. To be a Notre Dame athlete, what is particularly special about that?
I would say that probably the coolest part is the emphasis that everybody puts on kind of developing you as a person. The school, it's a great school, and the athletic programs are phenomenal, but everything's geared towards, being the best person you can be and kind of being very well-rounded. And so when you're going to Notre Dame, you're getting a very kind of holistic experience. You're not just going to be as good as you can be in one area. And it's been really cool to see personally, but it's also cool to see around you. The coaches are geared that way, the professors are geared that way. Yeah, it's just a very, very special place.
Cold weather programs, Mike Small obviously has figured some things out, and having assets, and I saw obviously your indoor facility there. Is there a mindset that a program from the North needs to have to say, look, we can win as much as everybody else? Is that something that's emphasized?
It is, and I think the biggest thing is knowing what you have and knowing kind of how to use it. I think it's something that we do very well. We're very good utilizing some of the technology, TrackMan, GC Quad, things that are able to keep us kind of in the competitive spirit. Even when it's snowing outside, we're out in the bays doing combine drills and yelling at each other, and it's something that's difficult. It's a lot easier to just go out and play 9 holes and play against your buddies, but I think it's something our team does very well, and it allows us to be really competitive out of the gate in the spring.
The Walker Cup experience for you, what are the things that are going to be redeemable, whether it be psychologically or more spiritually, like the experience of not only being on the team, Jacob, but where it was?
Yeah. That's
the Sistine Chapel of golf in America, and you could argue in the world. What are the things that will stand up in your mind about that experience?
Definitely the first time I came around 15, 16, 17, I'll remember that forever, because 15, you come off the back of 14 green and you kind of have that trail, you go around to 15, and as soon as you're around the corner, it's like, oh my gosh.
Whammo.
Yeah. So I'll remember the first time going around Cypress Point. But more importantly, I'll probably remember the people, whether it be the people on the team, or some of the hosts, Mr. Roberts, Mr. Reeves. We had dinner at their houses.
Yes.
And, it was just an unbelievable week. And being out there a whole week early, I feel very, very spoiled to have played Cypress Point as many times as I was able to play it. And I tried my best not to let the seventh time be any different than the first.
That's a good attitude to have.
It was really special.
How about this week? This golf course in the last couple of years altered. Visually you can see more of the property. How about the way this golf course plays? What are the particular challenges, which I think there are quite a few?
Yeah. So I actually never saw it before the renovation.
Yeah.
So my first year down here
was
very,
after.
very firm. There was no overseed. So everyone else was kind of adapting, and I was like, oh, this is just sort of how the course is. But it always holds true. It's very demanding off the tee. You get any amount of wind, even with no wind, but any amount of wind makes it very, very narrow. And then, you just got to be very creative. There's a lot of swales off the greens, and I've seen people take hybrids and 4-irons all the way up to open up a 60 degrees. So it demands a lot of creativity, and a lot of patience. Bogeys don't normally kill you, and I was watching Mr. Wade's episode on before me, and his par is always a good score. It really is. So just focusing on controlling what you can control, and you might get a bad bounce and all of a sudden have 35 yards from off one of these greens, and do your best to try to get up and down.
Yeah, if you look up and you're level par, you're not falling behind the lion's share of this field. What about golf here? Because you've had success here at other places, a college event as well. The Johnny O, you won that. What about playing golf here? Why have you responded so well to this environment?
Honestly, I wouldn't say it's so much more about the environment. It's more so just being comfortable with the course and kind of trusting the game plan that I can put together for a specific golf course. And Ocean Forest and Steilen have both treated me very, very well.
Last thing, as far as your spring season, team-wise, individually, what are the things that you think you absolutely can attain? Because I don't think a goal is a goal unless it's attainable. So what can you guys do?
Yeah, this is something we talked about as a team very heavily coming out of the fall, and I think our eyes are firmly set on making match play at the ACC Championship and then making match play at the NCAA Championship. Both things we haven't achieved in the past as a team, as a program, but things that we very firmly believe we can control, and we can put ourselves in those spots. And then from there, once you're in the dance, it's something I've kind of figured out myself. Anything can happen. So
no
put
doubt.
ourselves in those spots.
I know you're very proud to have your name on this trophy. I know you're excited to be back. Thank you for coming over, taking some time. Have a great week.
Of course. Thank you.
All right, Jacob Modleski, the winner of the 2024 Jones Cup and also a member of that United States Walker Cup team at Cypress Point. He'd like to be on another one. We continue with a young man who might be on one as well because he is the best junior in the world of golf. The two-time AJGA Rolex Player of the Year, Miles Russell, is going to join us. His thoughts on his year ahead, as well as the man on the trophy, the name on the trophy, and the man who runs the whole show around here at Sea Island. Great to have you with us. Hour 2 of 5 Clubs on Golf Channel. We're back right after this. Back in on 5 Clubs on Golf Channel. And again, we are at the Jones Cup Invitational. Competition starts tomorrow. 54 holes, 3 days, 78 players. This is among the very best amateur events in the world. It's reflected in the names on the trophy. And certainly if you look at world ranking points in the amateur ranks in terms of what is available, it's as good as any event, and it begins 2026. And obviously for the college players, their road, they hope, toward the NCAAs. For the young man who's joining me now, he's still got high school to deal with before he heads off to Florida State. He is the two-time AJGA Rolex Player of the Year. He is somebody who's done so much, including a finish at a Korn Ferry Tour event that had never been achieved as well. From right down the road in the Jacksonville area, I'm speaking, of course, of Miles Russell. Good to see you. How you doing?
Good. How are you?
Good. What do you do during the holidays? I know what I did as a high school kid. Nothing. But did you play golf every day? You take some time off?
No, I played for the most part every day. Maybe it's a little lighter, but just kind of hanging out and having some fun.
Are you more inclined to want to grind on the range, or do you like to play golf holes? Is that more your makeup?
Yeah, I'd say I play more than I practice. Unless I really need a kind of a good range session, then I can kind of sit there and beat some balls. But I like to just kind of be creative on the golf course, and I think I get more out of that than sitting there on the range for 2 hours and just hitting balls.
Do you, because of your skill level, and it's not that there aren't young men your age who are as close to your talent level, do you play with a lot of older players?
Yeah, the group of guys I play with are a little older. I don't play with too many kids my age, but I'd say they're definitely on the older side.
Well, one of the guys who just texted me, who played on the PGA Tour, Steve Wheatcroft, for a while, what do you get out of that? Not only in terms of, obviously they're very good players, Do you open up your ears and ask questions and ask about the experience of guys who are further along in the journey?
Yeah, I mean, a guy like that, Steve, I mean,
He's seen it all.
He has. I mean, he's been everywhere. He's done everything. So, I mean, if you just get a little bit, maybe every time you play with him, I mean, that adds up to be a bunch. I've played with him for probably 3 years now. So I've played a lot of golf with him. I've learned a lot. And, I mean, he's a great role model.
Scotty Scheffler said something, Miles, that I thought was really worthwhile for people to listen to. The dream was to play the game at the highest level. The dream was not to do press conferences and media responsibilities, but it's a byproduct of what you do. Do you feel like, because you've gotten a lot of attention because you're doing unusual things, have you gotten more comfortable with the attention that you're getting?
I think maybe a little bit. Just the more you do things, something like this, like you get better at it. Maybe if you asked me to do this 5 years ago, I may have said no, you know.
Right.
It's not my favorite thing to do, but you definitely learn the more you do it.
The year ahead for you, give everybody an idea because of what you've already done when you've been given opportunities in professional events. Not only have you made cuts, you've finished in the top 20. How do you put your schedule together with unique opportunities that you're going to get in addition to some junior events?
I think there's a little bit of strategy, but then also just I like to play tournaments, so kind of gives me something to practice for. So I may play a couple of junior tournaments, and then those are kind of stepping stones, see how my game is to play those bigger ones. But I'll play a couple of junior events, probably very similar to what I played this year, probably 6 junior events, and then kind of play the AM series through the summer, and then finish it with a couple more junior events at the kind of fall.
You won the Junior Invitational at Sage Valley, which I think is the Masters of junior golf. When you win events that not only, and again, they produce what you produce, which is being the Player of the Year on multiple of occasions, are there certain things that you get that from a confidence level, as somebody who's still very young, what affects your confidence most? Is it creating shots that you've worked on that under the gun you then execute, or is it the finish line result of taking home trophies?
No, I think if I've been practicing a shot at home that's kind of given me trouble in the past, and I've kind of been practicing it, and then I have the opportunity to kind of execute under pressure. I mean, there's no better feeling than to execute that shot when it's maybe not your favorite, but when you hit it, and you hit it the right way, it's like there's no better feeling than that.
No doubt. As far as the way that you look at the things that you think you possess and the things that you're still in pursuit of from your toolkit, what do you want to get better at? What is there one or two things that is a focus right now heading into 26?
Hopefully everything.
Well, that's probably a great answer. Always refining things. When you talk about playing here, and again, it's not trying to conflate it. Look, this is a hard golf course. What is the value of not only the difficulty of the golf course, but also the depth and the quality of this field? How beneficial it is to have an experience like this to start the year.
This is kind of a great one coming off kind of the off season. It's a great field, great golf course, really tests you, especially with the weather. I think the weather this year will be pretty nice, which is unusual, but it's a good test. It's a good confidence booster if you play well, for sure.
One last thing about media and attention and responsibilities. Look, the world has changed. The ability to represent brands, not only at the college level, but even before that. Are you learning? Are you curious about the road ahead of being somebody who can represent people who are trusting in you? They're investing in you. Are you interested in that stuff?
Yeah, a little bit, but at the end of the day, it just comes back to it's just a game, and just trying to get a little white ball in the hole, and just keep playing well, because when you play well, those opportunities will come, and main thing is just trying to play good golf.
Your peer group, who are the guys that you enjoy competing against, but also you love their company? Who are give some attention to some of these best juniors that can be elite college players and maybe make a living doing this. Mm-hmm. Who are they?
Jackson Bird, I've been playing with him the last few days. Mason Howell, he's a great player.
Yeah, Mason's decent.
Man, he hits it good. Rolls are nice too, but I mean, really, any of the guys out here, they're all very nice. They're all really good players too.
Have a great week. It's good to see you. Thank you for doing this, your second appearance. You're getting better at this. Not that you weren't good the first time. Most importantly, I hope you enjoy this, because, I think what Scotty said is important. It's not the dream, but it winds up being part of the reality. And that is success breeds attention, which breeds people want to know your thoughts on things. Thank you for sharing yours. Have a great week.
Thank you.
All right, Miles Russell, the two-time AJGA Junior Player of the Year, and somebody who's headed to Florida State to play college golf, and he's already doing things that have never been done when he's been given opportunities in professional events. The man on the name on the trophy will join us, as well as the guy who runs the Sea Island Resort. Nice to have you with us here. Our first show of the year, only show this week from the Jones Cup on 5 Clubs on Golf Channel. We're back right after this. Welcome back in this Wednesday edition, our first show of the year, live on Golf Channel, back in the studio on Monday. But we are thrilled to not only be here at the Jones Cup, but to be at Ocean Forest, a golf club that has the best intentions in terms of contributing specifically to the amateur game. And this segment is brought to you by Peter Millar, appropriately, because a large part of the history of Peter Millar can be found right here at Sea Island. And joining me now is the man whose name is on the trophy, whose family has made such a concerted effort to give to the amateur game of golf. And he is here to give us a little bit of a history lesson as well, not only about this event, but this club, its connection to the best team amateur event that we have in the men's game, and that is Bill Jones. Good to see you, my friend. Happy New Year to you.
Happy New Year to you, Gary. Thank you for being here. Thanks for your support and the Golf Channel support.
Well, we appreciate it. These are the types of things that we are thrilled to have the chance to not only come and experience ourselves, but to share with the viewers and the listeners. Take people back to the beginning, and I mentioned the Walker Cup because there is a thread, and it's a very vibrant one that exists between this club, the Walker Cup, the creation of this tournament, and kind of take people through how this started and why the Walker Cup is so central to everything.
Well, Gary, but for the Walker Cup, there wouldn't be a Jones Cup. We were awarded the opportunity to host the Walker Cup matches in 2001.
And the club was how old?
The club was 6 years old, youngest club to ever host the Walker Cup matches, and it was a great honor then. It's a great honor today to have that as part of our history, and we're really appreciative. So we recognize that as a 6-year-old club, most, if not all, of the players probably had never seen the golf course, maybe never even heard of Ocean Forest. So we had this idea that we would invite players that might have a chance to make either team in the winter before the August Walker Cup to come and have a friendly competition. In those days, it was as much a social event as it was a golf tournament. Of course, today it's a serious golf tournament.
Absolutely. If I recall correctly, the guy who may try to win 3 European Ryder Cups in a row as a captain was on that GB&I team. Luke was on that team, and Graham McDowell was on that team as well. Again, you look at the rota of the golf courses, it is such a testament to the club, to the leadership, to the golf course, for the USGA to make that decision, because, again, where it just was, where it's going, it is the best rotation, I think, in competitive golf.
Well, it's rarefied air. And again, we were really honored. And I give a lion's share of the credit to Reg Murphy. Reg Murphy was a charter member here at Ocean Forest.
Loved this place.
Loved Sea Island, loved Ocean Forest. And he was actually president of the USGA when we founded the golf club in 1995, 1996. Judy Bell deserves some credit. She followed Reg Murphy and was very supportive of the idea of hosting the Walker Cup here as well. But it was just a great event, and it led to what's now the Jones Cup.
So when the Jones Cup starts and you think about this time of the year, we also think about all the change Bill, when it comes to college golfers and the opportunity, whether it's through NIL and PGA Tour U, that didn't exist. The point system, the idea of accruing points in various ways to fortify yourself with what the next platform is. The Jones Cup, by virtue of all that has been done here, has grown, but the ancillary things that have happened in the game have made this event even more intense in terms of depth of field, quality of field, and the timing of the year to start the year to have a chance to win this trophy. All those things have helped it significantly, have they not?
No doubt about it. And again, it is a very serious tournament today. And this year being a Walker Cup year,
yes,
adds to the strength of the field. Of course, Walker Cup captain will be here. This gives him an opportunity to see the finest players play a tough golf course as he makes his final selections for the U.S. Walker Cup team.
The culture of Sea Island at large is that you come over the causeway, heart rate goes down, but more importantly is solitude and fellowship, and there's opportunities to do virtually everything here. But golf has a deepness to it here. I'm going back to the infancy of golf in America. When you go over to Seaside and you consider who was included and involved with the construction of that golf course. You love golf as much as anybody I know. What is it about golf in this place and the presence of PGA Tour players that is a central part of what Sea Island is?
Well, the history of golf here at Sea Island is deep, and you mentioned Colton Allison, Seaside. Bobby Jones played Seaside early on. We have a handwritten note from the great Mr. Jones that says this is one of the finest 9 holes of golf I've ever played. While he was here, we've hosted 7 or 8 USGA championships at Sea Island, including the 2001 Walker Cup. We've had a long commitment to really the amateur game of golf, and it goes back to the founding of the company and the commitment of my family.
Amateur golf, as it stands right now, as somebody who has his name on one of the most important trophies, are there things that can be done that can fortify or secure what amateur golf is? Because we don't know what the definition of amateurism is anymore because of the ability of players to be able to be compensated. And when they play in a pro tournament, if they're a college player, you don't see that little college bag anymore. They got logos and they got staff bags.
They're also driving Teslas.
Yeah, that as well. Is the amateur game in a good place?
Well, that's a good question. You'd be in a position to answer that. As far as we're concerned here at Sea Island, it is. And I think the Jones Cup highlights the best of amateur golf.
Bill, to me, I think if it requires you to think a little bit more pragmatically about what the definition of being an amateur is, I'm okay with that. I want college kids to have a college experience. I think once you make a declaration that you're a professional golfer, you're gonna play where your performance provides you compensation. That's professional golf. I have no problem whatsoever with these kids, whether it's a stipend, whether it's aligning themselves with great brands that then they can represent when they turn professional. I think it's in a very good place myself.
No, I agree 100%.
Yeah, how about this week? If the weather is mild on this golf course where these guys who have any experience here know that it's generally toboggan caps and mittens, which I know is not great for what represents this place is in great shape. But what about this week on a golf course that may not be as challenging just because the weather is a little bit more agreeable?
Well, the weather is going to be much more agreeable than a normal Jones Cup.
Right.
But this golf course is a test of golf, and it's not going to be a whole lot easier. Scores won't be a whole lot lower, I don't think. Lucas Waters, our superintendent, and his team have done a fantastic job getting it ready. Of course, John Wade, who you had on earlier,
yes,
and his team do a great job. Bjorn Croteau, our clubhouse manager, and hospitality. He's world-class deliverer of hospitality. It's going to be a great event. I want to go back to the beginning, though, just for a minute. I want to give a shout-out on the Jones Cup, the beginning of the shout-out to Jim Stahl. Jim Stahl, co-founder of this tournament. He was, as you know, he was a great amateur player. He won the U.S. Senior Am. He was runner-up in the British Senior Am. Golf Digest named him 95, 96, the best senior amateur player in the world. Jim put his heart and soul in this tournament from day one. He's still here putting his heart and soul in it. You'll find him on the first tee announcing players this week. He's just a great inspiration to all of us. So, he's a key player in this tournament.
I'm so glad you said that because the first time I came to the Jones Cup, I stayed with Jim and had a relationship with him going back years. There is nobody that wants to give to golf. Golf's given him a lot because he's a wonderful player. But there's nobody I know who feels a sense of responsibility to give as much as you've received as Jim Stahl. That's very well said.
He may have given more than he received.
No, I think that's fair.
Yeah.
What do you want to get out of your own golf game in 26? Let's make it personal. I mean, it is a selfish endeavor.
Not to miss those little short putts. John Wade and I talked about that this morning, so we're going to work on that this year.
Who is your favorite company in golf? Like who gives you the fellowship that you enjoy the most, whether it's here or anywhere in the world?
As an individual?
Yeah, just who do you like playing golf with?
There's so many people, but I love playing with Scott Mahoney.
Yeah.
Scott and I team up together.
You better be ready to go quickly.
You go quickly, which we both are good
We're
at that.
advocates of that.
Yeah. And but he's just such a great guy and such a great friend and a great business leader. He's on your parent company board now.
Yeah, indeed.
And what a great board member. And of course, your CEO is a member here. And thanks to Mark for his support of this tournament and amateur golf in general.
Thank you for having us. This is, I can't think of a more appropriate place for us that we have an ambition to try to represent all of golf. This represents the elite level of amateur golf, but more importantly, the idea that coming to a place like this, that golf is one of the central things that you can get out of an experience at Sea Island. Bill, it's great to see you. Thank you so much.
Well, Gary, you're great for the game of golf, and we appreciate your support and that of the Golf Channel. Thank you.
Thank you. His name is on the trophy that they are playing for this week, the 2026 Jones Cup. When we continue, the man who runs the Sea Island Resort, a place that, again, if you come here, there's not much you can't do, but golf is a big part of it. We continue here on Golf Channel, day one of 2026 for us from Ocean Forest. We're back right after this. Back in this Wednesday edition of 5 Clubs on Golf Channel, and this segment brought to you by our presenting sponsor for this program, not only in 2025, but now in 2026, Century Insurance. They want to be right by you when it comes to identifying your needs, your business insurance needs. And like I said, they do such wonderful things. They invest in golf in the best ways with the USGA, with the First Tee, and obviously we're very proud to be aligned with them as our presenting sponsor. Joining me now, this is somebody who, you know, a Michigan State guy who came down here to kind of try to help out a little bit, and then you turn around and it's like, no, you're the guy who's going to run this place. He is the CEO of Sea Island, Scott Steilen, who I know, look, we saw you last night in the Oak Room, one of the great rooms to share time with people you love, or maybe you don't love. Good morning. How you doing?
I'm doing great. Thank you for coming out to this place. It's not, I don't think this is a heavy lift for you and your team.
No. The only thing I was worried about, look, everybody who watches this knows that I'm not afraid to layer up, but I'm about 3 layers less than I thought I was going to be.
Yeah.
I was prepared for the worst of it, but it is actually a delightful morning. This event is great, but I want to start with you because when somebody makes a choice in their career who is having success in their career already, and it's a pivot to come, and you were contributing to give Sea Island a vision ahead. And then they said, why don't you help directly be the vision ahead? Why did you choose to leave a job you had to be the CEO of the Sea Island Corporation?
You know, it's a really interesting story in the sense that I never thought for 1 second that I was going to do this permanently. I mean, we were involved. I had a consulting firm. I was in Chicago. I was doing fine. My wife was born and raised in Chicago, was never going to leave Chicago. And what really struck me about this opportunity was our people and our team. And Phil Anschutz pulled me out of a board meeting. Phil Anschutz is our owner. Pulled me out of a board meeting when we were owned by four entities, and said, "We haven't been able to find anybody. Why don't you do it? Everybody seems to be leaning toward you doing it. Why don't you do it?" And I said, that's really great, but my wife will never leave Chicago. So I'll stick around. I'll help you find somebody or whatever. And then as time went on, and I continued to travel every week down and work on kind of taking the company from where it was and starting to set the stage for where we were going, I just became so bought into our team and what our opportunity was that I went home and I made the sales pitch of my life to my wife to say, let's move and let's do this. Now, with all due respect to people from the middle of North Dakota or Iowa or somewhere else, this isn't a really hard place to convince somebody to come and move to. But our kids were going into 9th grade, 7th grade, and 6th grade, so that was a difficult decision.
Sure.
And we had deep roots in Chicago, and this was a risky bet. A Yankee coming down to work and run, a quintessential Southern destination.
Absolutely. Golf, as I've asked of several people, including 4 people that work around the island in different capacities, it's a big part of it. How does an amateur golf tournament, in addition to having the SEC championships here, in addition to having the last event of the calendar year on the PGA Tour schedule, how does golf and these events amplify the overall messaging of what Sea Island is here to provide?
Well, I think golf doesn't define Sea Island, but golf is just an innate part of our character. It really is. Nearly all of our guests and members have some connection to golf during their stay or what brought them here and so on, in just some capacity, right? We've got an opportunity here at Sea Island where we have an opportunity to teach people about the game. Our golf learning center is, and our performance center is fantastic. We've got instructors who want to teach people how to get into the game. We've got people who want to grow in their game. I heard you asking Bill about his game earlier, and we can take anybody at any level and get them involved in it. Then when they get a chance to see, the SECs, the RSM, and this fantastic amateur tournament, which has become unbelievably difficult to play in and has generated an incredible number of tour players and tour wins and notoriety, and now we're the 3rd ranked amateur tournament in the world. It's fun, and our members love it. I'm sure some of the folks have talked about how bought in our membership is to, especially our Ocean Forest membership, is to this tournament. I mean, they feel an incredible sense of pride and ownership of this tournament, as much as Bill or me or John Wade or anybody else does. I mean, they help make this thing. As you know, tournaments exist on the backs of volunteers and what volunteers do. And Davis Love does an incredible job of thanking the volunteers that handle the RSM. But that comes from people who really love to be involved in the game. And the game has grown. I mean, we've seen incredible growth over the last 5 years in golf. And as a result, we've continued to want to invest in that and double down on what golf can be. It's part of the fabric of Sea Island, and it will always be that way.
It certainly is. I think great leaders are great listeners. So you're not only listening to your team and what their needs might be, but most importantly, listening to the consumer. To come here is a special experience, and the only reason it's special is because everything they could ever imagine is provided for them. When you look at your industry, when you look at where things are going, what does Sea Island need to do to remain exactly what it is, and what is the consumer saying to you in terms of what they want?
Well, we exist at the luxury end of the market, right? So there's always more pressure at the luxury end of the market to continue to invest and reinvest in your facilities, to keep that level not only of service execution as high as possible, but the facility itself as high as possible. And that takes a real commitment. And we have an extraordinarily committed owner And that is a huge, huge advantage that we have. But what it really means is that, this year we have, the 3 years ago we did the refresh of this Ocean Forest golf course with Bo Welling, and he did a masterful job of taking what Reese Jones had done and making some changes to it, and we love it. And the players love it, the members love it. The guest players who get a chance to come and play really enjoy that. We've made significant investments on the Sea Island side in our Golf Performance Center. We had Davis Love and Mark Love redo the Plantation Golf Course. We've added our golf cottages all around this golf theme. And then this next year, we're going to be taking our Seaside Golf Course down for a restoration because it's time. Unfortunately, we're in kind of a climate in a transitional area where over time you've got to replace irrigation, you got to look at bunkers, you got to do all of these things. So we don't intend to change anything that Tom Fazio did with the Seaside course, but we're just going to basically bring it back to what it was when he did it back in 1999. And all of that investment continuous into not just the golf facilities, but all the recreational facilities we have, the lodging and the rooms that we have, our public spaces, and the infrastructure that we have behind it. We have to, we just opened a 319-bed facility for seasonal housing because housing is really important for our team. If we don't do those things on top of the things that you see as a guest, we're not going to exist. And to have that commitment of our ownership, to be able to do all of that and make all of that investment and then show how it pays out over time, it's a really nice place to be.
Is there a way, and maybe you do this, to quantify the value of the allegiance and the connection of so many tour players who play for a living? Some have your brand, your logo on the belly of their golf bags. Is there quantitative value to those connections?
I think there is. There's certainly marketing and PR value, right? There's eyeballs. People get to see the logo. We're blessed with an iconic logo that people recognize on a regular basis. So when they see that connection to our players, or they know those folks, basically the way that we work with these guys is we want to be partners with them. And they will continue to say they play out of Sea Island and they have our logo when they have it. But if they can sell that real estate to another brand or another partner, then we're really happy for them to do that. But they choose to be here because this is an environment that supports the development of their game, and as they mature and get older, their family. Right? This is a great family place to be, and it all started with Davis. And Davis is still kind of, he is the lead dog. They call him Uncle Davis, but he's just such an ambassador. And he shows these guys how to be the right way. Mm-hmm. We don't have any bad people. The tour players that are here are humble. They're appreciative. They help when I ask them to help with something. If they, if we've got a group I want them to meet with or an appearance I want them to make, I just have to make a call and ask them, and they're happy to do that. And more importantly, they engage and interact with our guests and members. You will see them on the range. You will see them on the golf courses. They play together nearly every day.
Part of the community.
It's part of the community. They sharpen their own game by playing against each other on a regular basis, and I know that gives them an advantage. But more importantly for us, from a Sea Island perspective, they're great ambassadors, and we really enjoy having them down here. And so I think that in turn, while it's hard to really quantify in terms of financial contribution that these guys make, the fact that we've had an Andrew Novak who's had such a successful season, on tour, be there and be, on the last day, so many days this year, getting that coverage and say they play out of, Sea Island, and I see Andrew in the gym on a regular basis because I train with his father-in-law, Randy. So, that connection helps. And I think what that does is it humanizes Sea Island for somebody who understands, who likes golf or loves golf, either way. But, when you see a professional athlete, and, while I will joke that some of our players don't look like professional athletes, they are indeed professional athletes. They're extraordinarily skilled at what they do, and anybody that plays the game realizes it's super hard to do that. So it creates an opportunity for people to have more reality, for it to be more real. And this Sea Island culture, you know, is about civility and about gentility. And people come here because of that. And that's really what drives, I think, people coming back.
By the way, that gal from Chicago, she ain't going back. I met her last night. She's a pistol. Thank you for being so warm and hospitable to all of us, and most importantly, for us to be able to start our year at this great event at this very special place. Thank you.
Well, we're honored to have you here, and we really appreciate what you do, what you're doing for this tournament, what you're doing to kind of showcase what these guys are going to do. You will see these guys on tour
many
soon,
of them.
Right? Many.
Yes, absolutely.
Many.
Thanks, Scott.
Thank you, Gary.
All right. As we put a bow here on this Wednesday, our first show of the year, again, a reminder, we're back in studio on Monday, and there are certainly a lot of people to thank, Scott being one of them, and certainly Bill Jones and John Wade and all the staffs at all of these various places that are on Sea Island. But most importantly, it's to thank everybody out there who watches this show, because the reason why we're going to be able to do what we did in 2025 and 2026 and much more of it is because you showed that you liked it. And so I will just say, in terms of where we're going, not only in terms of what you're going to see, we're going to be on the road more, but you're also going to hear more voices, more contributors. And I'm talking about having longer form conversations, because there's a lot of things as we begin this new year that are going to be very, very challenging in the game of golf. There was a story that really developed over the holidays about the National Links Trust and what is going to happen to those assets that are so central to municipal and public golf right there in the greater Washington, D.C. area, not to mention what's going to happen with respect to the golf ball and how much closer are we going to get to consensus. And the only way that we at Signature Sports Group and at 5 Clubs can be better is to have people who can help us get better. And so it was announced yesterday that Eric Gibson is the new president of the Signature Sports Group and 5 Clubs, as somebody who came over as the chief commercial officer for Golf Pride. We got the best to make us better. And so we hope that's reflected in our product, not only starting today, but starting on Monday, because think about the stories that we have ahead in the game of golf. Yes, on the amateur side, Curtis Cup, Walker Cup, it's a President's Cup year, but also we have got Scotty Scheffler with a U.S. Open away from doing what it took Rory McIlroy 11 years to do, and to complete a career Grand Slam. And not to mention, there's going to be the emergence of a handful of players that you did not see coming. There's a lot on the plate for a sport that is in a very, very healthy place. And it's not just the people who play for a living. It's all of you out there. Thank you to Sea Island, Ocean Forest, and the Jones Cup. We're back in studio Monday.